Hey guys, thank you for with a video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to be comparing the iPhone 12 mini with the iPhone 12 Pro in a head-to-head comparison where we tell you guys all the main differences and similarities between these two devices in mid-2021. Break all of that down for you guys. But before we go ahead and get started, if you guys are new to the channel, we do a lot of tech news reviews and giveaways, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, if you guys are in the market for a phenomenal device like the ones that you're seeing here, make sure you guys check out the links in the description section. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this unboxing. The iPhone 12 lineup, as you know, was released in October of 2020, so it's almost closer to another Apple release cycle coming up, and these phones have been around for a bit now, and we wanted to do this comparison so you guys can go ahead and see how things are in mid 2021 since it's been released. So between these two devices, of course, the first thing you notice is sort of the different size of the boxes. The mini is a special edition one that Apple released for the very first time, with the mini size one. Regularly in the past generation, Apple released the regular 11 and the 11 Pro. And then of course the Pro Max, which all the 12 lineups have. You have a 12 Pro, and then 12 Pro Max. But the mini one, this one right here, is actually the very first time Apple released the mini here. And by mini, as you can see here, even the size of the box is smaller compared to the regular 12 here. And not surprisingly enough, but as you know, Apple discontinued a lot of things with their the package that included. The only thing you really get is the little pamphlet and the USB-C charger. There is no wall adapter, the power adapter, and headphones, of course. So two big things, which sort of is disappointing, at least that Apple has released. So you have to buy those separately, and that itself, costs more money on top of already expensive phone. Talking about expensive phone, between these two phones, probably one of the biggest things you're looking at when you're comparing these two phones is the price point of it. So you notice here between these two phones, price is going to be the one thing that's going to be probably a big determination when you're choosing between these two phones. The iPhone 12 mini here starts at $699, and the $699, that's only the 64 gig base model. Of course, you can get 128 gig and 256 gig. So that's what you're sort of trading off in terms of the price point. And then the Pro here starts at $999, that premium lineup price, almost $1,000, and slightly had double the storage for the base spec. This is a 128 gig spec phone, so you're getting a little bit more storage for the price that you are paying. This one can go up to 512 gig, which the iPhone mini here can only go up to 256 gig, which is a medium grade for the iPhone 12 Pro here. So if you're looking for storage wise, the 12 Pro is what you're going to be looking if you're really looking to get that 512 gig. But of course, the mini you can get in 256 gig. You do have to pay extra $100 or so. And if we look at the design of the phones, there's a lot of similarities, of course, between these two phones. To talk about the similarities, both of them have that square design that Apple has reintroduced from the iPhone 5 lineup. If you remember, if you had that 5, they used to have those flat square bezel. That's what Apple brought back. Of course, the other thing to note is the 5G feature for the very first time on the iPhone lineup. The 12 lineup was featuring that for the US model and some other countries as well. Some of the other countries actually don't have the 5G, and that's one thing we notice across international edition of the iPhone 12 lineup. The 5G antenna, as you can see here, it's a shade darker or off color than the color of the phone, and Apple moved the SIM card tray, what used to be on the right side, to the left side to accommodate that design. Of course, both of the phones come with a really powerful chip, the A14 Bionic chip with the neural engine as well to it, and both of them are equipped with iOS 14. So that's going to be kind of what you're getting at in terms of some of the main highlight features. Of course, you notice between these phones, there's a couple other contrasting difference. Of course, one thing is color. So if you're looking for a phone with the different colors, the iPhone mini here actually comes in 6 different colors. It comes in black, blue, white, green, purple, product red. Of course, we're holding the black edition in our hand, as you can see here. In terms of The Pro here actually comes in your gold, silver, and graphite. So those are the base color that we've seen in previous model. But for the very first time, Apple introduced a Pacific blue color for the iPhone 12 Pro lineup, which was different from the midnight green, which the 11 had. So it's the special color. So 4 color versus 6 colors on the mini here. Of course, the other thing you probably haven't noticed, or if you read the tech spec, you'll understand is both of them do have ceramic shield front. So it's supposed to be 4 times durable than the previous glass there was. In terms of the actual body, you'll notice between that they have slightly different body build feature. The mini here has what's known as a aerospace grade body here, steel, stainless steel body, where the iPhone Pro here has a surgical grade stainless steel. What that really means, not too much. It just means both of them are pretty durable in terms of their body design. They both do have wireless charging capability. That's why you'll notice the back is all glass here. Of course, if we hold them side by side, you'll notice the size difference between these two phones. And you'll notice other things like the camera. The mini only has 2 dual camera, and the Pro here has 3 camera. The two ones, of course, the main camera and the wide angle camera are evident on the mini here. And then on the Pro here, along with that main camera, wide angle camera, there's also a third 12 megapixel telephoto camera. So all of the cameras are 12 megapixel cameras. And of course, that LiDAR here, as you can see here, for augmented reality. So if you're playing or doing stuff with augmented reality, you're going to be getting that feature, which isn't available on the mini here. So you don't have that black dot that you're seeing. So that's another thing to note. Of course, we already mentioned this here about these phones. Of course, in terms of their actual display here, you notice between these two phones, the display size is of course different. Both of them are all screen OLED display here, but the sizes of course is different here. The mini here, it's a 5.4 inch display diagonal versus here on the Pro here, which is a 6.1. So almost around a 0.7 difference into the screen. If we hold it side by side, you notice that difference. The mini, if you hold it, if you have smaller hand, it fits really well. You really have to have a really small hand. But for most adults, if you're holding it, the Pro looks like a better fit. And considering most of the smartphones nowadays are about 6-inch average or so, the Pro does feel like the better option in terms of size here. So that's sort of the design and the display itself of this two phones. Of course, between these two phones, when it comes to software, both of the phones essentially run all the same software because they ship with iOS 14, and iOS 14 was designed with that capability to be able to run things more smooth. And that A14 Bionic chip is definitely one of the industry leading chip in terms of performance for any smartphone. So we see that's definitely a big plus for Apple. So in terms of between these two phones, if we really look at it and compare it, you might wonder, what are you getting out of between these two phones in terms of what you're looking at overall. So overall, between these two phones, things to consider is the physical size. Is that, do you want a bigger phone, maybe a 6.1 inch versus a 5.1? That's going to be one thing. Display along with it, do you want a bigger display, which might be better if you're for gaming or if you're watching a lot of movies compared to that small compact design of it. And of course, other thing to note is the storage size. As we mentioned here, if you're a person that has a lot of storage or require because you have a lot of photos and videos, the 512 gig is going to be only available on the Pro model here. And other thing to note about these two phones, which you haven't talked about much, is the battery life. So if you look at the battery life of these two phones, they're slightly different battery size because of the phone sizes here. They have the iPhone mini here has a 2227 mAh battery, which gives you about 15 hours of video playback. And the iPhone Pro here has a 2815 mAh battery, and that gives us about 17 hours of video playback. So video playback 15 hours versus 17 hours doesn't make a difference. Well, to let you guys know, that's only video playback, and that's a good indicator. But essentially between these two devices, on a full charge here, the Pro, we expect it to pretty much go if you can pretty much use this phone for a full day if you're a light to medium user. But if you're more on the heavier side of the usage, the Pro won't last you nearly the day, maybe 3/4 of the day. The mini here, on the other hand, will last you about probably 3/4 of the day on a full single charge, depending on, of course, your usage. It's going to be really depending how well you're multitasking and what you're doing. Of course, both of the phones, if you're a heavy user, are not going to last you much long, maybe half of the day, because we do see the phone starting to take up the power it needs for that OLED display. Luckily, when it comes to charging, you can actually hook up these phones to a 18 watt or a 20 watt power adapter, which the charge does a bit quicker than the previous generation of models. So that's definitely a plus when it comes to shifting and charging your phone to be able to get going and much more. So between these two devices, the last thing you're probably looking at is cost. Is it cost efficient to buy a $1,000 phone versus a $700 phone? That's a decision that's going to be unique to every single person, and that's something you'll have to decide with the trade-off that you're getting. Do you really think those trade-off really matters? Well, the camera itself, for example, if you're a photographer, probably want to go with the pro model. But if you're not a photographer and you're still fine with just taking some decent iPhone quality photos, probably the mini does it for you. And if you're not like a size queen or something like that, sorry for the joke, but as you know, between these two phones, those are kind of the big standing differences between these two devices. So hopefully this video is helpful. If you guys are using either of the devices, upgraded, had experience with it, or looking to upgrade, please leave a comment in the comment section. I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about these two phones, or which one would you like to get? Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.